Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now, have you ever wondered how much informal waste reclaimers or waste pickers earn? Well, a study found that the majority of waste or bin pickers in South Africa earn between 300 and 600 per week, but some can earn as much as 7,000, which is more than the average formally employed worker. Joining us to unpack the research highlighted by the Outlier is Dr. Thea Schoeman, head of the Geography, Environmental Management and Energy Studies at the Department of University of Johannesburg. Doctor, good evening and thank you very much for your time. I must say, when I read through this report, I thought it was definitely worth a broader conversation because many of us have wanted to know for the longest time if waste pickers make enough from their daily finds, because the only thing we know for sure is that they're critical to our recycling economy and green future, but we don't know of the conditions they operate under and whether it's all that profitable. Perhaps let's just start with you distinguishing for us between the kind of waste pickers that we find from e-waste, your food waste pickers. Just talk us through some of these.
Okay, so there are basically two groups of waste pickers. The ones that we see on the street and collect waste from our bins, we call those trolley pushers. And then you get a landfill waste pickers. Waste reclaimers, as they're also known, collect any type of waste. So you very seldom would get a waste reclaimer that only collects one type of waste. That they will collect everything that has value, and that's what we will call a recyclable. From e-waste and so on, there's not really food waste reclaimers per se, but if you discard food and it's still edible, they unfortunately will also take that out of our bins.
And then talk us through the demographics of those employed in this industry, if we can even call it employment, from the gender, race and even the age group.
So most of the waste pickers has some schooling. Interesting, a lot of them's completed, well, about 15 to 20% completed matric. You also get waste reclaimers that's got a post-matric qualification. They're usually the younger demographic group, younger than 35 years, because it's a very strenuous job. You know, they have to pull or push this waste, carry it and sort it and so on. So they're mostly black African males. If you get female waste pickers, you will find them operating closer to the landfill sites. They usually are involved in the sorting of the waste, or landfill waste reclaimers, as we call them. So they are also mostly from South Africa. We also get waste reclaimers from neighboring countries like Lesotho, Mozambique, and Botswana.
If we look at the waste picking subsectors, if you'd like, is e-waste perhaps more profitable if we look at the figures that we started off with, some making 300, some in excess of 7,000?
Those that earn so much money, they collect metals. So the most profitable type of recyclable is the metals, the different metals that we get. The e-waste pickers, you don't, very seldom you will get a waste picker that only collects e-waste. For example, at the University of Johannesburg, we try to empower the waste pickers to earn more money by training them in the repair of small appliances, and so that they can rather repair or refurbish such e-waste that we discard, like your iron or kettle and so on, and that they can resell it. It's much more profitable for them to repair and refurbish such waste than to dismantle and process it. They will, for example, take your iron and take only the cable, the copper out of the cable. So in terms of e-waste, hopefully in future they will earn more money. For the audience, maybe what we don't know is that we're extremely dependable on what we call rare metals and scarce minerals. And we find that in our electronic devices, you get called gold, palladium, silver in your cell phone, if you didn't know. And those type of materials are becoming scarce and very expensive to mine. So the waste pickers can increase their earnings if they can collect more of the metal types of waste that we discard.
Professor, the people operating in this industry are largely stigmatized and harassed, yet they continue to save government hundreds of millions in landfilling space. Is there potential perhaps to formalize this industry or integrate their unpaid labor into new formal municipal recycling system of sorts?
So to give you indication, our research show, and we estimated save municipalities about 700 to 750 million rand a year in landfill airspace. They are very individual workers. They will group together if needed. Unfortunately, they've been promised so much in the past by both government structures or by companies and say, we're going to help you, we're going to formalize you, we're going to do this, and it never really comes to the fore. So there is guidelines on the integration of waste reclaimers into the formal waste management system, but it will take political will for local governments to make them part of our waste management options. Mm-hmm. We're not, they are the reclaimers in South Africa, they are the recyclers. They are the ones that really recycle the most, and yes, we should be thankful for them and not stigmatize them. Some research I've conducted was very positive, where residents in the Greater Johannesburg said they don't mind them operating, but we can definitely make it easier for them to do their jobs by just separating our recyclables out of our wheelie bins or our dustbins, because I think that's sometimes the problem is people who complain they are digging into my wheelie bin, but if you take out your recyclables, it would not be necessary for them to dig in your wheelie bin.
So they provide a very essential green service for us. I so hope that there would be some sort of a drive to teach communities to stop stigmatizing, because essentially what they're doing here is assisting us insofar as our green future is concerned, and they're subsidizing us because government's not paying them to clean our communities.
Exactly. And depending on where you're in South Africa, I would encourage people to go and see how much landfill airspace they have in. Pick it up, for example, in Johannesburg. I reckon we've got about 5 years of landfill space left. Where are we going to get new landfills? Do you want a landfill in your backyard? No. So we can extend the landfill's lifespan by recycling. We can protect the environment. We can create jobs. The circular economy is also a part that is necessary in South Africa. The circular economy basically says we keep a substance in the production loop as long as possible before it's discarded. And, you know, people just need to go and look at the impact of waste on both the human health and the environment. So the waste pickers are really playing a vital role in the waste management systems in South Africa. And I think it's high time that we give them the recognition they deserve for the role they play.
Doctor, thank you very much for your insights this evening. That was Dr. Thea Schoeman, Head of the Geography, Environmental Management and Energy Studies at the University of Johannesburg.